Hi guys, welcome back to Bougie Doll Life. My name is Katrina and today I'm going to be making a Tinkerbell and Peter Pan costume for my dolls. So let's get started. So first we're going to start by making the Tinkerbell costume, and for the Tinkerbell costume I have this piece of felt that I got from Michael's, and I'm just going to go ahead and pretty much measure it down 6 inches and go ahead and cut straight across the felt. Okay, so I went ahead and measured down. I actually measured down 5 inches because I thought that'd be better because I want it to be a little short on my doll. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut straight across the line that I drew. So once I have my strip of felt, I'm going to go ahead and take my doll and I'm going to take the felt and just wrap it around her just below her armpit and right at the top of the bust part of her body. And I'm gonna go ahead and flip her over and see how short it is. So I like the length that it's at because we are gonna cut it some more at the bottom to give it that design that Tinkerbell has at the bottom of her dress. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut off a little bit of the extra fabric. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the felt on the opposite side. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my needle and thread and go ahead and sew the dress all the way from here to the waist area of my doll. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut the excess fabric once I'm done sewing straight up the dress. Alright, so now that I'm finished sewing the back of the doll's dress, I'm going to go ahead and add the Velcro. It's okay that I'm adding the Velcro on the raw side because when I flip it over, it's still going to be able to close just the same. And I'm using my same Velcro that I always use, and I'm just going to go and secure it with a little bit of hot glue so it can stay in place. So now I have the Velcro on the doll so it can open and close. So while it's closed onto the doll, I'm going to flip her back to the front side and I'm going to go ahead and make some darts. So I go right at the bust line. I'm going to go a little higher than normal because I want it to have a very deep dart. So I'm going to go straight down right here, like mid breast area, and then I'm gonna go straight down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make a curve going inward on both sides. All right, so now we're going to take the dress off the doll. So now that the dress is off the doll, I'm going to go ahead and sew along the curve right here, close, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut the excess fabric off once I sew it together around the curve. Okay, so I sewed the 2 darts on the dress, and now I'm just gonna cut the extra fabric that's on the 2 darts. So you just go around the line, trying not to cut the thread, but you want to cut the remainder fabric because you don't want it to be too bunchy when you put it on the doll. So I'm just going to cut the extra. And I'm using the felt, by the way, if you didn't hear me. That's the material I'm using for this costume. I prefer to use felt when it comes to costumes and like intricate outfits because anything I want to hot glue, it holds better on felt material. So now I'm going to go ahead and just try the dress back on the doll, but this time I'm going to flip it to the good side. Okay, so now that I tried the dress back on the doll, I'm going to go ahead and cut the midpoint for the doll. I want to draw it out first, so I'm going to go ahead and just draw a V shape going down the dress. I like drawing it first so I could know how deep it's going to look and just to make sure I'm happy with where I'm cutting. So I go ahead and cut that out. And then that gives me the V shape that I want. And then now I want to cut down the side of the dress because I wanted to give it that how Tinkerbell has her dress at the top. So I'm just drawing a little curve under the armpit and back up to where the Velcro is. So I'm pretty much just drawing a curve, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut straight up this way, but I'm still leaving the back part there. I'm just going to cut this curve off. All right, so I want it a little more curved, so I'm just gonna cut a little bit more off. You just do it until you feel like it matches the look you're going for. And I'm gonna show a picture of Tinkerbell's dress in the corner of the screen, and that is the style that I'm looking for as far as the top. So I'm just carving it out. And then I'm cutting it out. All right, so I like how that's looking. So now we're going to cut the bottom. So for the bottom, it's like leaf looking material on the bottom of her dress. So I'm just gonna go ahead, actually I should draw it because that's the smartest thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the leaves going up the dress of where I'm going to cut. And I'm just gonna do that all the way around the dress. This is a very easy costume idea for a doll, especially if you're a beginner at sewing like I am. This is pretty easy to start out, and it's a very cheap idea because the felt was only 32 cents at Walmart. So now I'm just cutting where I drew those lines. And it doesn't have to be perfect because Tinkerbell's dress is not perfect. It's more like made out of leaves pretty much. So I'm just cutting right where I have the lines. Okay, so now we see that the dress is taking form, and I'm gonna take things a step further. So I have this leather material that I got when I bought packs of leather, faux leather from Amazon. I will link it down below. And what I'm gonna do on the back of the leather piece, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw a leaf shape. And I'm going to go ahead and just keep doing that till I get to the end. And they don't have to be perfect. You just want to make them as similar as possible because we are going to cut them out to add to the dress. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Okay, so now I have my leaves cut out from that pleather material. So now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and just hot glue it to the sides like this around the brim, like in between the slits of the dress. Alright, so I finished adding the leaf part to the front of the dress. I feel like it gives it a lot of dimension and I absolutely love it. And I love how it's looking, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take my green marker and just color down the middle where I have the two darts, just to make that darker, just to show that it's more defined. In a way, like kind of coloring the thread in a way with the markers. And I'm trying to go to the top. I just feel like this will give it more definition. And they do have fabric markers, I just don't have any, but it's a costume, so it's not like I'm going to wash it or anything, so I don't mind just writing with regular marker on it. So this is the dress. So now we have to make the fairy wings. So for the wings, I'm taking a piece of construction paper that's green, and I'm just gonna take my marker and start to draw out fairy wings. So I'm just gonna go out that way and go in, and then I'm gonna go out that way and back in. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So once I cut it out, I open it up and the fairy wings are even on both sides. So I'm just going to take my marker and kind of outline it how it is on the first side that we did. Now I'm just going to draw some swirls inside the fairy wings. Alright, so now I'm going to take a piece of cardboard. I'm going to hot glue the wings to the cardboard. Alright, so I actually want to decorate the wings before I cut them out. So I'm going to go ahead and take some paint. Okay, so I'm going to put some paint right on this little piece of cardboard. I have this metallic gold color that I want to use. So let me see so you guys can see that. So it's got this metallic gold color, and I have my little paintbrush right here, and I'm just gonna take that and just paint gold accents where I would want them. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and while I let this dry, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Peter Pan costume. So for the Peter Pan costume, I'm taking another piece of felt. This one that I got from Michael's, it was around $1, and I'm just going to fold it in half. And once I fold that in half, I grab the Ken doll. I'm just going to take the Ken and lay him flat on the felt just to see how far I need to go with the top, which I want it to be long and a little loose on him. So I'm gonna go out to about here on both sides. Then I'm gonna go to the shoulder just a little bit with a seam allowance. And I'm gonna go a little further because I am gonna cut it on the end, so just stretch the arm out a little bit. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out. Alright, so now that I cut it out, I'm going to fold it in half to cut the neck part, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw it out first. And it's going to be kind of a deep V because we're going to be doing a collar with that leather material that we used on the Tinkerbell dress. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. So now I'm going to open it up, and it is even on both sides. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it to the raw side and go ahead and just sew straight up the sides of the shirt. Alright, so now I sewed the Ken shirt on both sides. So now I'm going to go ahead and flip it to the good side. Once we flip it onto the good side, I'm going to take the scissors and not cutting the hem, but cutting diagonally from the hem, I'm gonna make little ridges. So I'm gonna go and cut out little triangles in the shirt, and then do one more at the top. And I'm going to do the same to the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut little triangles at the bottom, but not too deep because I don't want it to be too high up. All right, so we have the top formed for our Peter Pan top for the Ken doll. So now we're going to make the collar. So for the collar, I'm just going to measure out to the beginning of the neck, the bottom of the neckline to the top of the neckline. And I'm just going to make a little snip right here and go over here and just cut straight down. So now that I have the two collar parts cut out, I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm going to hot glue the collar down to the shirt. Okay, so I added the Velcro so I can open and close, and I'm going to flip it back to the front. And in the front part, I'm going to take some brown embroidery floss, and I'm just going to embroider like kind of like a stitching going back and forth shirt onto the doll. Okay, so this is how the shirt is looking on my Ken doll. And now we're going to make him a hat. So to make him the Peter Pan hat, we're going to be using, so I cut a piece of felt and I'm pretty much wrapping it around his head. I'm gonna carefully take my hot glue and just hot glue the back part to close the back part of the hat. And then I'm going to hot glue the front part of the hat right here in the opening. I just want to use hot glue because I feel like I don't need to sew this since it is a costume and it's just a quick, easy costume that we're trying to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut straight up the two sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back on his head, just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this part in the front that you guys see open. I'm just gonna put some hot glue and then close it. And the opening in the back is closed. So now what I'm going to do is flip the hat up, go ahead and cut these two flaps out because we're gonna remake this in a different color. I'm gonna take the other green fabric that I'm going to use around the front part and just cut a strip of that fabric. I'm going to go ahead and pretty much hot glue this dark strip of green felt to the front of the hat. We're going to take a red piece of paper and just draw a feather on one side for his hat and cut it out. And now I'm just going to take the little feather part and just hot glue that to the side of his hat right here. All right, and there we go. We have our Peter Pan Ken. And I really love how it came out. Let's complete the Tinkerbell wings for Barbie. So our wings are completely dry. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So now that it's cut out, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 elastics to the wings, and I'm going to hot glue it to the back of the wings and have it hang towards the front so it can fit the arms of the doll. And just to secure the wings, I'm going to go ahead and glue this felt onto the back. Okay, so that's just to secure the elastic. And then there you go, you have your fairy wings onto your doll. And so then her Tinkerbell outfit is complete. So this is the final results of my costume. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!